You need to leave. Now, before I have you arrested." Victoria Crawford stood between a black man and the VIP table he'd reserved. Midday sun blazed across the rooftop lounge. She didn't ask his name, didn't check his confirmation. She looked at his face and made her decision. Her husband Ashton laughed from his seat. "Buddy, I don't know who told you that you could sit here, but they lied." The man pulled out his phone. Reservation confirmed. Payment cleared. Table 22. The empty one right behind them, still marked reserved. Victoria crossed her arms. "That's not your table anymore. We don't serve your kind here." Conversation stopped. Forks hit plates. A woman gasped. Phones came out. Nobody moved to help. What Victoria didn't know, the man she just threatened was a federal agent, and everything she'd said was now evidence. Have you ever watched someone talk themselves into prison? This is that moment. 1 week earlier, Victoria Crawford stood in her penthouse, scrolling through reservation requests. She paused on a name. "Ashton, look at this." Her husband glanced over. A black family, parents and 2 teenagers. "VIP section request," Victoria said. Ashton shrugged. "Say it's fully booked." Victoria typed, "Unfortunately, VIP seating is reserved for members only." She hit send. "We're not running a community center. We're building a brand." This wasn't new. This was policy. For 3 years, Victoria and Ashton Crawford had operated 3 upscale establishments across Manhattan. On paper, they welcomed anyone with money. In practice, their anyone was selective. Hostesses were trained in code. Check the reservation twice meant stall. Not our usual demographic meant finding a reason to refuse. Dress codes were enforced selectively. Black guests in designer clothes. Sneakers violate policy. White guests in casual wear? Right this way. Reservations disappeared from the system, but only for certain names. Tables were double booked. Payments failed, despite successful charges. Nobody called it discrimination. They called it curation. The complaints started quietly. Social media posts, community forums. A black accountant turned away. An Asian couple told them their reservation didn't exist. A Latino businessman seated by the kitchen while white walk-ins got window tables. The pattern was obvious to those experiencing it, but patterns need proof. 7 months ago, 23 complaint forms landed on Special Agent Elijah Bennett's desk. FBI Civil Rights Division, Lower Manhattan Field Office. Same 3 establishments, same owners, same language in every rejection. Elijah read them carefully. He'd been with the Bureau 9 years. He recognized coded discrimination when he saw it. His supervising agent, Priya Patel, appeared at his desk. The Crawford complaints? 23 incidents in 18 months. Social media doesn't hold up in court. Elijah tapped his pen. "We need first-hand evidence, pattern or practice documentation. You volunteering?" "I've done undercover work before." Patel crossed her arms. "Not like this. You'd document your own discrimination." Elijah looked at the files. 23 people were ignored. How many others just absorbed it and stayed silent? "I'll do it." The plan was simple. Make legitimate reservations under his real name. No deception. Dress appropriately. Follow every rule. If treated differently than white guests, capture it on a body camera. Over 6 months, he visited 2 Crawford locations. At first, his confirmed reservation couldn't be found. He was seated at the worst table near the kitchen. A white couple without a reservation got a premium booth immediately. He recorded everything. At the second location, he was told ties were required. He returned in a full suit. The hostess said VIP was members only. Behind him, a white man in casual clothes walked straight into VIP. He recorded that too. But he needed more. He needed them to say it clearly, undeniably. So he booked their flagship rooftop location. Saturday noon, VIP section. Table 22. Confirmation email arrived. Payment processed. Reserved under Elijah Bennett. The night before, he reviewed his case file. 6 months of evidence, witness statements, financial records showing discriminatory membership patterns, internal emails Victoria sent to staff. Be selective. We're building a brand, not a community center. His phone buzzed. Agent Patel. Ready for tomorrow? Ready? Remember, don't argue. Document. Let them show you who they are. Elijah looked at the photo on his desk. His younger brother in his FBI uniform. The brother who'd been profiled despite carrying a badge. I'll let them talk, Elijah said. And every word becomes evidence. Saturday morning arrived. Elijah dressed in a clean blazer and pressed slacks. Professional but not ostentatious. He checked his lapel pin. The body camera was barely visible, already recording. He arrived at the rooftop lounge at 11:55. 5 minutes early. The entrance was busy. Midday sun lit up the space. Families having brunch, business meetings. Laughter and conversation filled the air. Elijah approached the hostess stand. A young woman looked up. Her smile faltered slightly when she saw him. Can I help you? Reservation for Bennett. Noon. Table 22. She glanced at her screen, then back at him. Let me check on that. Behind her, a white couple approached. No greeting from them. The hostess immediately smiled. Welcome back. Your usual table? Perfect, the man said. They walked past Elijah without a reservation check. The hostess returned. I'm having trouble locating your reservation. Elijah pulled out his phone, showing the confirmation email. She stared at it. Let me get my manager. Victoria Crawford appeared moments later. She looked at Elijah. Her expression shifted. Subtle but unmistakable. Is there a problem? Victoria asked the hostess, not Elijah. He says he has a reservation for VIP. Victoria turned to him. Her smile was thin. Sir, VIP tables are for members. There must be a misunderstanding. I have a confirmed reservation, Elijah said calmly. Table 22. I can show you the email and payment receipt. Victoria barely glanced at his phone. Our system shows that table is unavailable. Elijah looked past her. Table 22 sat empty, a reserved placard on top. That's my table, he said. Victoria's voice hardened. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Elijah didn't move. He stood at the hostess stand, reservation confirmation still visible on his phone screen. I'd like to speak with someone about this, he said evenly. Victoria's jaw tightened. I am someone. I'm the owner, and I'm telling you that table isn't available. It's sitting empty right behind you. It's reserved. For me, Bennett, noon, I can show you the payment confirmation. Victoria glanced at the hostess. Call Ashton. Within 30 seconds, a white man in expensive casual wear emerged from the VIP section. Ashton Crawford held a mimosa in one hand, sunglasses pushed up on his head. He sized Elijah up immediately. What's going on? Victoria gestured vaguely. He's insisting he has a reservation for 22. Ashton looked at Elijah like he was a stain on the furniture. Buddy, I don't know who told you that you could sit here, but they lied. Nobody told me anything, Elijah said. I made a reservation a week ago. I have the confirmation. Ashton didn't look at the phone. Let me explain something. This section is curated. We have standards. I meet your standards. I have a reservation, and I paid for it. Standards aren't just about money. Ashton took a sip of his drink. It's about fit. You understand? Around them, other guests were starting to notice. Conversations dropped in volume. A woman at a nearby table nudged her companion and nodded toward the confrontation. Elijah kept his voice calm. Are you refusing to honor my reservation? I'm saying there's been a mistake, Victoria cut in. We'll refund you, but you need to leave. I don't want a refund. I want the table I reserved. Ashton stepped closer. Not threatening, but invasive, claiming space. "Look, man, read the room. Does this look like your kind of place?" The words hung in the midday air. A young white woman at a corner table pulled out her phone. She started recording. Elijah looked around the VIP section. Every occupied table was white. The staff serving them, black, Latino, Asian. The guests being served, white. "My kind of place," Elijah repeated quietly. Victoria sensed the attention growing. She forced a smile. "Sir, we're trying to be accommodating. We can seat you in the main dining area. Complimentary appetizers." "I don't want the main dining area. I want table 22. Ashton's patience snapped. "Jesus Christ! Security!" Two large men in dark suits appeared. One was white. One was black. Mid-30s, an uncomfortable expression already forming. "Darnell," Ashton said to the black security guard, "escort this gentleman out." Darnell looked at Elijah. Something passed between them. Recognition. Shame. Complicity. "Sir," Darnell said quietly, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Elijah didn't look away from Victoria. "I'm a paying customer with a confirmed reservation. Why am I being removed?" "You're trespassing," Victoria said. "I'm not trespassing. I have a legal right to be here. This is a private establishment. We reserve the right to refuse service. Not based on race. That's federal law." The words dropped like a bomb. Victoria's face flushed. "This has nothing to do with race. This is about..." "About what?" Elijah asked. "My reservation is valid. My payment was cleared. I'm dressed appropriately. So what exactly is the problem?" Ashton laughed. It was sharp, defensive. "You're making a scene. That's the problem. I'm standing here asking for the table I paid for. You're the ones making a scene." A white woman at an adjacent table, tipsy from bottomless mimosas, leaned over. "Oh my God, just go somewhere else. You're ruining everyone's brunch." Her companion giggled. Another patron, white male in a business suit, muttered loudly enough to be heard. "Seriously, dude, have some self-awareness." Nobody defended Elijah. The young woman kept recording. Everyone else watched. Victoria seized the moment. She turned to the growing audience, playing to them. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the disruption. We're handling this." She turned back to Elijah. Her voice dropped, but not enough. The microphone in his lapel caught every word. "You need to leave now before I have you arrested." "For what crime?" "Trespassing. Disturbing the peace." "I'm disturbing the peace by asking for the table I reserved?" Ashton stepped in again. "All right, enough. You want to know the truth? Fine. We don't want you here. You don't fit. You don't belong. This place isn't for people like you. People like me. Yeah. People who don't understand what we're building here." Victoria put a hand on Ashton's arm, but her words betrayed her. "What my husband means is that our VIP section has a certain clientele, a certain standard. And I don't meet that standard. Frankly, no." Elijah looked at her for a long moment. "Say that again. Clearly." Victoria crossed her arms, emboldened by the audience's silence. "That's not your table anymore. We don't serve your kind here." The rooftop went dead silent. Someone gasped. The young woman recording zoomed in on Victoria's face. Elijah reached into his pocket slowly. He pulled out his wallet and removed a business card. He held it out to Victoria. She didn't take it. "I'm going to leave," Elijah said. "But I need you to understand something. I documented everything. The reservation, the payment, the confirmation, your refusal, your exact words." Victoria's smile was venomous. "Document whatever you want. This is private property. We have rights." "So do I." Ashton waved his hand dismissively. "Get a lawyer then. Sue us. Good luck with that." Elijah pocketed the card. He looked at Darnell, the security guard. You heard all of this. Darnell's eyes dropped. He said nothing. Elijah turned to the young woman recording. Thank you for documenting this. She nodded, still filming. He walked toward the exit. Every eye followed him. As he passed the hostess stand, Victoria called after him. And don't try to book here again. Your name is flagged in our system. Elijah paused, turned back. Flagged. That's right. We have a list. You're on it. A list of people you refuse service to. A list of people who cause problems. And what's the common factor on that list? Victoria didn't answer. She didn't need to. Elijah walked out into the bright afternoon sunlight. Behind him, applause broke out. Actual applause. Victoria and Ashton soaking it in like they'd won something. Ashton raised his mimosa. Crisis averted, people! Brunch is back on! Laughter. Relief. The crowd returned to their meals. Victoria pulled the hostess aside. Make a note in the system. Bennett. Elijah Bennett. Blacklist him. If he tries to book any of our locations, auto-reject. Got it. And send a message to our other managers. His photo. Make sure everyone knows. The hostess hesitated. Is that legal? Victoria's smile was ice. It's our business. We decide who we serve. Inside the VIP section, the white woman who'd told Elijah to leave turned to her friend. Finally, I thought he'd never go. Right? So awkward. They returned to their avocado toast. Darnell stood near the entrance, staring at the door Elijah had walked through. His partner, the white security guard, clapped him on the shoulder. Forget it, man. Not our problem. But Darnell couldn't forget. He pulled out his phone and opened his notes app. He started typing. Saturday, noon, blackmail, valid reservation, refused service. The owners said, we don't serve your kind here. Patron ejected, flagged in the system. He saved the note, added it to a file he'd been keeping for 11 months. 47 incidents now. 2 blocks away, Elijah walked into a coffee shop. He sat at a corner table, pulled out his phone and tapped his lapel pin. The camera stopped recording. 42 minutes of footage. Crystal clear. Every word is captured. He opened an encrypted messaging app and typed, Incident complete. Full documentation captured. They said it explicitly. Multiple witnesses. Ready to proceed. The response came in seconds. Agent Patel. Sending it to DOJ now. This is exactly what we needed. Elijah stared out the window. His reflection looked tired. He thought about the 23 people who'd filed complaints before him, the dozens more who hadn't. Every person who'd been told they didn't belong and had no way to prove it. His phone buzzed again. Patel. They have no idea what's coming. Elijah allowed himself the smallest smile. No, they didn't. By Monday morning, the video would be viral. By Tuesday, federal subpoenas would arrive. By Wednesday, Victoria and Ashton Crawford would be sitting in an FBI interview room, realizing exactly who they'd humiliated. But for now, they were celebrating, toasting their victory, believing they'd protected their brand. They had 72 hours left before their world collapsed. Sunday morning. The video hit the internet at 7:32 a.m. The young woman who'd recorded the confrontation posted it with a simple caption, VIP racism at Crawford rooftop. Watch until the end. By 9 a.m., 50,000 views. By 11, 200,000. By noon, 1.4 million. The comments section exploded. Outrage, disbelief, anger, but also skeptics. There's got to be more to this story. Maybe he was causing problems before she started filming. Why didn't he just leave? Why make a scene? The video didn't show Elijah's calm demeanor. It didn't show his reservation confirmation. It started mid-confrontation, catching Victoria's words, "We don't serve your kind here." But without context, some people found ways to doubt. Victoria woke up to 300 missed calls. She grabbed her phone, scrolled through notifications, and felt her stomach drop. The video was everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, local news sites picked it up. "Ashton! Ashton!" He stumbled out of the bedroom, hungover. "What?" She shoved the phone in his face. He watched 30 seconds and went pale. "Oh, shit. We need to handle this. Now." They called their lawyer first. Marcus Carter, corporate attorney, expensive retainer. "I'm seeing the video," Marcus said over speakerphone. "This is bad." "Can we sue her for defamation?" Victoria asked. "Sue who? The woman who filmed you saying you don't serve his kind?" "No, Victoria. You can't sue someone for posting your own words." Ashton paced. "It's out of context. She cut off the beginning." "Doesn't matter. What you said is clear. What you did is clear." "So, what do we do?" Marcus sighed. "Apologize. Immediately. Make it public. Offer sensitivity training. Donate to a civil rights organization. Do damage control before this gets worse." Victoria grabbed her laptop. She opened Instagram and started typing. "We deeply regret the misunderstanding that occurred at our establishment yesterday. We are committed to creating an inclusive environment for all guests. We will be implementing additional staff training to ensure this never happens again." She hit post. The response was immediate and brutal. "Misunderstanding? You literally said you don't serve his kind. This isn't an apology. This is PR garbage. Too late. Your business is done." By Sunday afternoon, sponsors started pulling out. A liquor brand that supplied their bars issued a statement. "We do not align with establishments that discriminate." A corporate event planner canceled 3 upcoming bookings. "Our company values don't align with yours." Reservation cancellations flooded in. Dozens. Then hundreds. Victoria tried calling regular customers. Most didn't answer. One did. "Victoria, I can't be associated with this. My firm represents diversity initiatives. If anyone sees me at your restaurant, it was a misunderstanding. It was on video." Click. Meanwhile, 200 miles away in Washington, D.C., the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division was already moving. Senior trial attorney Keisha Williams reviewed the file Agent Patel had sent over. 7 months of investigation, 23 complaints, financial records, internal communications, witness statements, and now, video evidence of the owner explicitly refusing service based on race. Keisha picked up her phone. File it. Pattern or practice discrimination. Title II violation. We're going after all 3 locations. Back in New York, other victims started coming forward. A black woman named Shanice posted her story. "This happened to me 3 months ago. Same restaurant. They said my reservation was canceled, but I had the confirmation email. I thought I was crazy." An Asian couple shared their experience. "We were told there were no tables. We watched 3 white couples get seated after us. No reservations." A Latino businessman. "I was seated but ignored for 45 minutes. White couple next to me got served immediately." The pattern was undeniable. FBI tip line lit up. Emails poured in. By Sunday evening, 47 people had contacted authorities with similar stories. Agent Patel forwarded everything to the DOJ. Darnell, the security guard, sat in his apartment watching the video go viral. His girlfriend stood behind him. "Baby, that's you in the video." "I know. You just stood there." "I was doing my job." She crossed her arms. "Your job was to throw out a man who had a reservation because your boss is racist?" Darnell closed his eyes. "What was I supposed to do?" "Not that." He thought about Elijah's face. The calm, the dignity, the way he'd looked at Darnell like he understood. Darnell opened his phone and pulled up his notes. 47 documented incidents over 11 months. He'd been complicit in every one. His girlfriend watched him. What are you going to do? Darnell stared at his screen for a long time. Then he Googled, FBI Civil Rights Division Complaint Hotline. Monday morning, 9 a.m. A process server walked into Crawford rooftop. The manager was setting up lunch service. Can I help you? The server handed over an envelope. Federal subpoena. You've been served. The manager opened it. Her hands started shaking. United States Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division, pattern or practice investigation. Request for all business records, internal communications, reservation logs, staff training materials, financial records, membership applications. She grabbed her phone and called Victoria. We just got served. Federal subpoena. The FBI wants everything. Victoria's voice cracked. The FBI? Over a viral video? It says civil rights investigation, pattern or practice discrimination. That's insane. We'll fight this. Victoria, they want 7 years of records. Silence on the line. Victoria? Get Marcus on the phone, now. The manager hung up and stared at the subpoena. At the bottom, a name. Supervisory Special Agent Priya Patel, FBI Civil Rights Division. This wasn't about a video anymore. This was federal. Across town, Elijah sat in the FBI conference room. Agent Patel slid a document across the table. The DOJ is filing the civil case Wednesday. We're recommending criminal referral to the state attorney general. How many plaintiffs so far? 47 and counting. 3 more calls this morning. Elijah looked at the paperwork. 7 months of work coming together. When do we bring them in for questioning? Patel smiled. Thursday, 10 a.m., Federal Building. They've been instructed to appear. Will they show? Their lawyer will make sure they do. He knows what happens if they don't. Elijah leaned back. They still don't know who I am. No. They think you're just another victim. Another complaint. Good. Patel closed the file. When you walk into that interview room and show them your badge, I want to be there to see their faces. You will be. Thursday was 3 days away. Victoria and Ashton had 3 days left of thinking they'd get away with it. 3 days of believing their lawyer could make it disappear. 3 days of not knowing the man they humiliated had a badge, a case file, and 7 months of evidence. The clock was ticking. Thursday morning, 10 a.m., Victoria and Ashton Crawford walked through security at 26 Federal Plaza. Metal detectors, ID checks, phones surrendered. Victoria's hands trembled, placing her purse in the bin. This is intimidation, Ashton muttered. Their lawyer, Marcus Carter, kept his voice low. This is a federal investigation. Keep quiet and let me handle it. 8th floor, sterile hallway, windowless conference room, a table, 4 chairs, a camera in the corner. They sat. They waited. Victoria checked her watch. How long? The door opened. A South Asian woman in a dark suit entered, carrying a thick file. Good morning. Special Agent Priya Patel, FBI Civil Rights Division. She sat without waiting for acknowledgement. This is voluntary. You're not under arrest, but lying to a federal agent is a crime. Understood? Marcus nodded. Understood. Patel pulled out a document. September 21st. Your rooftop location. Tell me what happened. Victoria cleared her throat. A misunderstanding with a guest. It's been exaggerated. A misunderstanding. He was confrontational. We asked him to leave. Patel slid a photo across the table. Frame from the viral video. Victoria pointing, mouth open. Is this you? Yes. What are you saying here? Silence. Patel read from a transcript. Quote, We don't serve your kind here. Is that accurate? Victoria flushed. Out of context. What context makes that appropriate? I was frustrated. He had a reservation. He claimed he did. Patel produced another document. Confirmation email. Elijah Bennett, September 14th, Table 22, noon. $325. Paid. She slid it over. Victoria stared. Valid reservation. Confirmed. Paid. Why refuse service? The table was double booked. Was it? Pause. Patel pulled out system logs. Table 22, that day, 1 booking, Elijah Bennett. No conflicts, no errors. Ashton leaned forward. We have the right to refuse service. Private property. You're a place of public accommodation. Title II, Civil Rights Act of 1964. You cannot refuse service based on race. Marcus shifted. Patel opened the thick file. This isn't one incident. Pages spread across the table. 47 individuals, similar treatment, all people of color, all with valid reservations. She displayed a chart. Names, dates, patterns. Black couple, designer clothes, told sneakers violated dress code, photo shows dress shoes. Asian family, reservation confirmed, told table unavailable, footage shows it empty for 2 hours. Latino businessman, payment processed, told it failed. She looked up. 47 incidents, 18 months. That's pattern or practice. Victoria's voice rose. People complain. We subpoenaed internal communications. Patel slid an email forward. Victoria to staff, 4 months old. Quote, be selective about walk-ins. We're building a brand, not a community center. Victoria went pale. Text message, Ashton to door staff. Quote, use your judgment on who fits the vibe. You know what I mean. Ashton's jaw clenched. Coded language, Patel said. The pattern shows what you meant. Marcus touched Victoria's arm. Don't respond. They don't have to. Evidence speaks. Patel gathered documents. The DOJ will file a civil lawsuit, pattern or practice discrimination. We're referring to the State Attorney General for criminal charges. Victoria's voice broke. Criminal? Unlawful discriminatory practice, misdemeanor, conspiracy charges possible. We'll lose everything. That's possible. Ashton stood. We're done. We're not... Sit down, Mr. Crawford. The voice came from the doorway. Everyone turned. A black man in a dark suit entered. FBI badge on belt. ID lanyard visible. He carried a folder. He sat directly across from them. His face was calm, familiar. Victoria's eyes widened. Her mouth opened. Ashton stared. You're Special Agent Elijah Bennett, FBI Civil Rights Division. Silence. Victoria gripped the table. You're FBI? Yes. You lied. I made a reservation under my real name, dressed appropriately, followed every rule. I never misrepresented myself. You let us think. I'll let you show who you are. Ashton's face reddened. This is entrapment! Entrapment requires inducement. I made a legal reservation. You chose to refuse service. You chose your words. Marcus closed his eyes. Elijah opened his folder. 7 months investigating, 23 victim complaints, financial records showing discriminatory approvals, staff testimony, internal communications. He pulled out a lapel pin. Saturday, I wore this. FBI body camera. 42 minutes. Everything recorded. He looked at Victoria. Every word is evidence. Victoria's hands shook. We didn't know you were FBI. If we'd known, you would have treated me differently because of my job, but you had no problem treating me that way because of my race. The truth landed. Ashton turned to Marcus. Can they do this? Marcus's voice was flat. Undercover work is standard. He used his real name, made a legitimate reservation. Your actions were based on appearance. Elijah leaned forward. The DOJ files a civil suit tomorrow. Pattern or practice discrimination, injunctive relief, compensatory damages, civil penalties up to $300,000. Victoria gasped. Liquor licenses under review. Business partners being contacted. Every victim is notified of class action rights. He paused. State AG reviewing for criminal prosecution. Ashton slumped. Elijah stood. Agent Patel will provide documentation. You'll be escorted out. Victoria's voice cracked. Please. We'll lose everything. Please. Elijah stopped, turned. You told me I needed to understand your restaurant wasn't my kind of place. Let me help you understand something. He met her eyes. Equality isn't negotiable. It's the law. The law doesn't care about your brand. It cares about justice. He moved to the door. You made money excluding people like me. Now you pay for it. He left. Victoria buried her face. Ashton stared blank. Patel stood. You'll receive formal notice within 48 hours. She left them shattered. Hallway. Elijah exhaled. Patel joined him. How do you feel? Tired. That was perfect. It's not perfect. There are thousands more like them. Now we have proof they can be stopped. Elijah nodded. One down. The news broke Friday morning. FBI investigating Manhattan restaurants for civil rights violations. Victoria and Ashton's faces appeared on every local station. Not mugshots, but close enough. Professional photos pulled from their business website, now framed as suspects. The headline scrolled beneath. Owners accused of systematic discrimination. Social media erupted. The guy they kicked out was the FBI. This is perfect. They really said we don't serve your kind to a federal agent. I can't. This is what happens when racism meets consequences. By noon, their corporate sponsors had released statements. A premium vodka brand. We're immediately suspending our partnership with Crawford Hospitality Group pending investigation. A luxury watch company that had hosted events at their venues. Our values don't align with discriminatory practices. An influencer who'd promoted their Sunday brunch. I had no idea. No, I'm horrified. I'll never go back. The reservation system crashed from cancellations. Saturday morning, their investors called an emergency meeting. Victoria and Ashton sat across from 3 venture capital partners in a midtown conference room. The same people who'd praised their discerning approach to clientele now looked at them like liabilities. The lead investor didn't waste time. You've exposed us to massive legal risk. We're divesting immediately. Ashton leaned forward. We didn't know he was FBI. How were we supposed to? You weren't supposed to discriminate at all. The investor slammed his hand on the table. That's the point. FBI or not, you refused service based on race. On camera. Victoria's voice trembled. We can fix this. Sensitivity training, public apology, donations. Too late. The damage is done. Our other portfolio companies won't associate with this. Another investor chimed in. Do you understand what pattern or practice means? It means systematic, institutional. This wasn't one bad day. This was your business model. They slid termination papers across the table. Sign. We want to go out. Victoria's hand shook as she signed. 3 years of investment. Gone. While their financial backing collapsed, the FBI was building its case. Monday morning, Agent Patel sat in a small interview room with the first employee witness, the hostess from the rooftop location. Young, white, visibly nervous. Thank you for coming in, Patel said. Am I in trouble? That depends on what you tell me, but cooperation helps. The hostess twisted her hands. They trained us. First week, Victoria sat us down and gave us guidelines. What kind of guidelines? Code phrases. Check the reservation twice meant stall, make them wait, make them uncomfortable enough to leave. What else? Not our usual clientele meant finding a reason to refuse them. Dress code, payment issues, anything. Patel took notes. Did she specify who these phrases applied to? The hostess nodded slowly. She never said it directly. but the training materials had example photos. Aspirational guests versus problematic guests. All the aspirational ones were white. All the problematic ones were not. Do you still have those materials? They made us delete them after training, but I took screenshots. She pulled out her phone. Patel looked at the images. Training slides. One side labeled brand aligned. White families, white couples, white business professionals. The other side labeled requires discretion. Black, Latino, Asian guests in similar attire. Can you send these to me? Yes. Did you ever refuse service based on these guidelines? The hostess's eyes filled with tears. Yes. I'm sorry, I needed the job. I thought if I didn't follow instructions, I'd get fired. How many times? I don't know, dozens, maybe more? Patel's expression remained neutral. Did other staff follow the same guidelines? Everyone. Hosts, servers, managers. It was policy. Thank you. We'll need a formal statement. Next interview, a bartender. Latino, mid-20s. They told me to prioritize white customers during rushes, he said. If I don't, my shifts get cut. Did anyone complain about this policy? One server did, black woman. She said it was racist. They fired her 2 weeks later for performance issues. Do you remember her name? He provided it. Patel added her to the witness list. Third interview, Darnell. The security guard who'd been ordered to remove Elijah. He arrived with a notebook. 11 months of handwritten logs. I documented everything, Darnell said quietly. Every time I watched them turn someone away, every coded conversation, every person I was told to remove who hadn't done anything wrong. He slid the notebook across the table. Patel opened it. Page after page. Dates, descriptions, names when he knew them. Why did you keep this? Because I knew it was wrong. I told myself I was just security, not my business, but I was part of it. His voice cracked. That man on Saturday, Agent Bennett, he looked at me, and I saw it. Disappointment. Not anger. Just disappointment. You're doing the right thing now. I should have done it 11 months ago. Elijah entered the room. Darnell stood immediately. Agent Bennett, I'm sorry. I'm so... Elijah raised a hand. You're here now. That takes courage. Thank you. Darnell sat back down, wiping his eyes. While witnesses came forward, FBI forensic accountants analyzed financial records. The numbers told their own story. VIP memberships, 300 applications over 2 years. 73% of black applicants rejected. 12% of white applicants rejected. Income levels, nearly identical. Reservation patterns. Minority guests offered less desirable times and tables at significantly higher rates. Corporate event bookings. Emails showed Victoria telling potential clients they were selective about cultural fit. Only one minority-owned business had ever booked an event. The data was damning. By Tuesday, the victim count had grown to 62. Agent Patel interviewed a black woman named Shanice, mid-30s, accountant. I was celebrating my promotion, Shanice said. I'd worked 5 years for it. I wanted somewhere nice. I made a reservation 3 weeks in advance. What happened? They canceled it the day before, said there was a system error. I called back. I made another reservation. They canceled again. Same excuse. Did you complain? To who? I had no proof. I just felt stupid, like maybe I really didn't belong there. Her voice wavered. I saw the video Saturday. I saw him standing there, calm, and I saw myself. How many times did I just accept it? Patel touched her hand. You're part of the case now. You'll be heard. Another victim, Dr. James Carter and his wife, both physicians. We reserved it for our anniversary, Dr. Carter said. When we arrived, they said our table was given away. We showed confirmation. They said there was nothing they could do. His wife continued. We watched 3 white couples get seated after us. No reservations. They just walked in. We left. What else could we do? File a complaint? We're busy. We have patience. We didn't think anyone would care. We care now, Patel said. A young LGBTQ interracial couple. 2 men, 1 black, 1 white. They told us we were too affectionate, the black partner said. We were holding hands, at a table. Straight white couples were literally making out at the bar. They moved us to a back corner, said it was more private. It was next to the bathroom. Story after story, pattern after pattern. Wednesday morning, Victoria made a catastrophic decision. Against Marcus's explicit advice, she scheduled a TV interview. Local news, damage control attempt. She sat across from the reporter, makeup perfect, expression practiced. Reporter: Ms. Crawford, do you deny refusing service to Agent Bennett? Victoria: I didn't know he was FBI. If I had known... Reporter: So you would have treated him differently based on his occupation, but not based on his race? Victoria faltered. That's not... I mean, we treat all guests. Reporter: The video shows you saying we don't serve your kind here. What did you mean by that? It was a heat of the moment. But what did you mean? What kind were you referring to? Silence. The clip went viral within hours. Lounge owner can't explain your kind comment. By Wednesday afternoon, the class action lawsuit was filed. Civil rights law firm, 62 plaintiffs, $10 million in damages. The press conference was covered by national media. Attorney: Our clients experienced systematic humiliation. They were made to feel unwelcome in public spaces. The psychological harm is real. The financial harm is real, and we will seek full accountability. A plaintiff spoke. Shanice, the accountant. This isn't just about money. It's about being believed. For years, I thought maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe I was imagining it. Now I know I wasn't. And that matters. Thursday, the New York State Attorney General announced criminal charges. Press conference. State Capitol. Discrimination isn't just immoral. In New York, it's criminal. We're charging Victoria and Ashton Crawford with unlawful discriminatory practice under state human rights law. Potential sentence: up to 1 year. Fines up to $50,000 each. Permanent criminal record. Victoria watched the announcement from her apartment. The penthouse was already listed for sale. She turned to Ashton. We're going to jail. He didn't answer. He was staring at his phone. His family's lawyer had sent a message. Your parents have decided to cut financial support. You're on your own. His trust fund, his safety net, gone. Staff were abandoning the restaurants in waves. Servers quit. I can't have this on my resume. The head chef resigned. I won't be associated with this. Even the cleaning crew found other contracts. By Friday, all 3 locations had closed. Not enough staff to operate. Signs on the doors. Temporarily closed. Everyone knew it was permanent. Elijah spent the week in depositions, documenting everything, building the case brick by brick. Friday evening, he sat in his apartment reviewing files. His brother called. Also FBI, based in Philadelphia. Saw you on the news. Are you good? Tired. You should be proud. This is huge. Is it? Elijah stared at his notes. 7 months of investigation while they kept discriminating. How many people suffered while I was building a case? You can't save everyone immediately. Systems take time. Justice delayed is justice denied. But you got justice. That counts. Elijah nodded, though his brother couldn't see. Yeah, it counts. Saturday morning, mediation. Neutral location. Federal mediator. Victoria and Ashton on one side with Marcus. DOJ attorneys on the other. The mediator laid out reality. You're facing a federal civil suit. State criminal charges. Class action. Your best option is settlement. Marcus spoke quietly to his clients, then to the room. What are the terms? DOJ attorney. Immediate closure of all locations. $500,000 victim compensation fund. 10-year consent decree on any future hospitality business. 200 hours of community service each. Public admission of wrongdoing. Lifetime ban from membership-based establishments. Victoria's voice was hollow. That's everything. That's accountability. Ashton looked at Marcus. What if we fight? You'll lose. The evidence is overwhelming. And criminal charges stay active. Victoria signed first, then Ashton. Their empire ended with 2 signatures. Outside, Elijah stood with Agent Patel. It's over, she said. This case is over. The work isn't. One at a time. Monday morning. Federal courthouse steps. Agent Patel stood at the podium beside Elijah. Cameras flashed. Reporters crowded forward. Victoria and Ashton Crawford have entered a settlement agreement admitting violations of the Civil Rights Act. Terms include immediate closure of all establishments, $500,000 compensation fund, and 10-year consent decree. A reporter called out, "What's a consent decree?" Any future hospitality business they operate faces federal civil rights audits, regular reviews. They'll never operate unchecked again. Inside, Victoria and Ashton read their mandatory statement. Victoria's voice was hollow. We engaged in discriminatory practices. We caused harm based on race. We take full responsibility. Ashton added flatly. We're deeply sorry. We're committed to learning. A reporter asked, Do you believe you're racist? Silence. Victoria's voice cracked. I have biases I didn't recognize. I need to confront them. Not redemption, just a beginning. 2 weeks later, a victim compensation ceremony. Brooklyn Community Center. 62 people gathered. Shanice, the accountant, spoke. This isn't about money, it's about being believed. The system finally said what happened was wrong. Dr. Carter followed. We needed to be heard. We needed proof that we weren't imagining it. Relief, validation, justice. 1 month later, the rooftop building reopened. New ownership, new purpose. Sign unveiled. Harlem Community Arts Center, all welcome. Opening day drew hundreds, families, artists, students, every race, every background. The councilwoman cut the ribbon. This space was excluded. Now it belongs. Inside, no VIP section existed. Same tables, same view. No velvet ropes. Everyone is equal. A young black girl asked her mother, Is this where it happened? Yes, baby. Where someone stood up for what's right. Can we come back? Anytime we want. That's the point. 3 months later, Ashton worked retail. High-end store, sales floor, not management. His community service, teaching workplace diversity training. I didn't think I was racist, he told business owners. I thought I was protecting a brand. I was wrong. Someone asked, Have you changed? He paused. I'm starting to understand what I didn't. That's not the same as fixed. Honest, at least. Victoria's path was harder. Therapy twice weekly, support group, court-ordered, but she attended. Her therapist asked, What do you understand now? Victoria stared at her hands. Exclusivity felt like success, but it was cruelty with expensive furniture. She volunteered at a civil rights organization, filing, data entry, unglamorous work. A black co-worker watched her carefully, eventually spoke. You hurt people. I know. Words aren't enough. I know that too. Then keep showing up. Victoria did. 6 months later, Elijah was promoted. Supervisory special agent, small FBI ceremony. Agent Patel pinned his new badge. "You've shown what integrity looks like." Elijah addressed the room. "This wasn't about one restaurant. It's about systems. Hundreds more establishments do the same. We have work to do." Darnell attended. He now worked for civil rights advocacy, training security professionals. "I was complicit," he told audiences. "I watched discrimination and called it my job. Here's how to recognize it, how to stop it." Shame became education. 1 year later, the criminal case concluded. State courtroom. Victoria and Ashton pleaded guilty to misdemeanor civil rights violations. The judge spoke before sentencing. "You excluded people based on race, made discrimination policy. This conviction follows you permanently, as it should." Sentence: probation, fines, permanent records. They'd never escape it. Outside, a reporter approached Elijah. "How does this feel?" "Justice isn't about feelings. It's accountability. They broke the law. They faced consequences. That's how it works." "What's next?" "More cases, more investigations, more work." That evening, Elijah visited the Arts Center. Off-duty, casual clothes, a young black girl recognized him. "You're the agent from the news?" He smiled. "I am. My mom says you made it so people like us can go anywhere." "Places like this were always for everyone. Sometimes we just remind people." She ran back to her mother, smiling. Elijah watched them enter. The space that was excluded is now welcomed. Not perfect, but real. Systems could change. Spaces could be reclaimed. Justice could work. One case at a time. This story began with an insult at a restaurant table. It ended with federal enforcement, criminal charges, and systemic reform. But here's what it was really about. Victoria and Ashton didn't think they were discriminating. They thought they were maintaining standards. They used coded language, curated clientele, brand protection. That's how discrimination persists. Not through open hatred, but through systems disguised as sophistication. Elijah Bennett didn't just experience discrimination. He documented it, methodically, for 7 months, because one person's story can be dismissed. A pattern is evidence. 23 complaints became 62 victims. 62 victims became a federal case. A federal case became justice. But here's the hard truth. For every Elijah Bennett with resources to fight back, how many others just absorbed it? The server who smiles through microaggressions. The professional who doesn't correct assumptions. The parent explained to their child why they weren't welcome. This case succeeded because witnesses used their privilege correctly. Emily filmed and testified. She didn't center herself. She documented and supported. That's what allyship looks like. The institutions worked. FBI, DOJ, State Attorney General, because people demanded they function. Justice doesn't activate itself. It requires fuel, evidence, persistence, public pressure. Agent Bennett is still investigating. More venues, more systems, more gatekeeping disguised as exclusivity. And there are more agents, attorneys, activists, and witnesses doing the work. So here's the question we started with. Have you ever watched someone humiliate another person and wondered if karma would catch up? Karma didn't catch Victoria and Ashton. The legal system did, because someone documented it, reported it, and institutions did their jobs. Maybe you're Elijah, someone who's experienced discrimination and can document it. Maybe you're Emily, a witness who can support without centering yourself. Maybe you're Darnell, complicit in a system but capable of choosing differently. Or maybe you run a business, set policies, hire teams, and you need to ask, what am I maintaining, and for whom? If you see discrimination, here's what you do. Document it. Video, audio, screenshots, dates, witnesses, report it. Local Civil Rights Commission, State Attorney General, FBI Civil Rights Division, support victims. Believe them. Amplify them. Testify if needed. If you run a business, audit your practices. Who gets hired? Served? promoted? Train your staff with actionable policies, not generic seminars. Listen to feedback, especially from people who say they feel unwelcome. This story shows what accountability looks like. Not perfect, not instant, but real. Spaces can be reclaimed, systems can be pushed, people can change, or be removed. If this story moved you, hit the like button. It helps us reach people who need to hear it. Share it with someone in hospitality, law enforcement, or any field where discretion can become discrimination. Drop a comment. Have you witnessed something like this? What did you do? What do you wish you'd done? Subscribe for more stories about justice, accountability, and building a fairer world. Because these stories aren't entertainment, they're blueprints. Victoria Crawford thought Elijah Bennett didn't belong at her table. Turns out, she was the one who didn't belong in the hospitality business, based on investigative reporting and civil rights case patterns. Names and details fictionalized for protection and narrative clarity.
The story you heard today wasn't cleaned up. It was told exactly as it happened. At Black Voices Uncut, we believe that's the only way truth can live. If you felt something, hit like, comment, and your reaction, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced.